My father was kind of an artist because he worked on cathedrals and churches and did a lot of gold leaf work. But of course it was on and off. It wasn't a constant job. He passed away when I was about 10 years old, and my mother has struggled to see that all of us were educated. The goal at that time was to have all of the children high school graduates, and my mother took in washing and did all kinds of things to keep the family together.
Inspired by a family friend who'd been a World War I veteran, Robert Nett joined the Connecticut National Guard in 1941. His unit was soon activated, and by the following year was in action in the South Pacific. In December 1944, Nett, whose wife Frances was in the Army Nurse Corps and also serving in the Pacific, was a seasoned combat veteran, leading his infantry company against a reinforced Japanese battalion on the island of Leyte in the Philippines. The fighting was hand to hand.
With two platoons going forward, one supporting by fire. And as we moved forward, the NCOs would push Bangalore torpedoes under the barbed wire, blow the barbed wire up. It would create a little ditch as well as blowing the barbed wire up. They'd crawl along the ditch with the flamethrower. They'd gradually, by doing this, we made a foothold into this fortified area. Now, there was one large building that was, it was a municipal building, but they had made it into a blockhouse, reinforced it with concrete. So I asked the forward observer if there was any chance we could get a 105 up and fire point blank from across the river and break through some of the concrete so we'd get flame in there. He did. And during this time, first thing I knew, I was hit in the neck. My jugular vein was just cut and a little blood shot out like the size of a needle point. But I went on, kept going. Much of this I was crawling on my hands and knees, and as I was going from one squad to the other, I would fire, and occasionally the clip would fly out. That meant last round. And what are you going to do when a Jap jumps up in front of you? Well, we were trained to use the bayonet, and at that moment, the training came back to everyone like clockwork. The adrenaline was running real hard. We were moving, shooting and no saluting, I guarantee you. As we got close to the final objective, which was this big blockhouse, I started deploying my machine guns and moving them by what we call team echelon, one machine gun team at a time, take up fire and then bring up the other one. And as I was doing that, I turned to signal to my machine gun sergeant to move one of the machine guns. I got shot in the right lung. The right lung collapsed on me. So I did exactly what I was trained to do in commando school, kept going, supervising. We finally got flame into this big bunker, burned out as much as we could. Well, by this time, my feet started getting real heavy, and I knew that I had lost so much blood that was what was happening. So I had the objective secured, and I took one of the lieutenants, put him in charge, and moved on back to the river line.
Although grievously wounded 3 times in action, Nett survived. He sees it as his duty to speak for those who did not.
There's been, I believe, 3,220 medals awarded. About 86% are posthumously awarded. So I feel that those that are living and that are capable should be out talking to young people, emphasizing the great honor that's been bestowed upon the individual and what that honor means. When I was honored at the Gulf Street Armory, They read my citation, he put the medal around my neck, and then he asked me to take the mic. So at that moment, I said, I accept this honor in the name of all the great soldiers of E Company, 305th Infantry, because they trained hard. They fought exactly the way we trained. When we were successful in combat, it was because of the teamwork, the sincerity of each individual doing his part. I share this honor with all those people because they made it possible. I wish we could have some kind of a oak leaf cluster with Medal of Honor so each one could have part of it.